It can be hard asking for help at work, especially if you have been promoted. I'm talking to my leaders here. You think you need to know all the answers. And if you have recently been appointed to a big new role, maybe you are in a new job, they are going to expect a lot from you. But all the more reason you're going to have to learn when and how to ask for help. Hi, I'm Diana Bernal, a career strategist who guides ambitious Latinas so they can reach their goals. And today, I'm going to talk about asking for help, especially when you're in a higher role. We're going to talk about what gets in our way and how to use a framework to work through those fears to get the courage to ask for what you need so you can be successful. Okay, let's jump in. Asking for help is hard enough as it is. And then let's just layer on top of it the whole Latina experience where we have raised to be tough and self-sufficient. And we saw our parents, especially our moms, being very resourceful. You know, asking for help may not be in our nature. So any hesitation or fear you have about asking for help definitely is valid. So what is it that we fear? We fear that people will think that we don't know what we're doing. And if you already have imposter syndrome, the fear that you don't belong or that other people think that you don't belong, asking for help can be twice as hard. So we worry about what other people think. Maybe we even put a little bit of judgment on ourselves, like, okay, Diana, I should have paid attention to the training last year, and then I would have known what to do. So I blame myself. Or another one is we project and we assume what the other person is going to say. Maybe they're not going to help us. Maybe they're going to look down at us because we're asking for help. All of this becomes a cycle and a snowball. The less you ask for help, the bigger the problem gets, then the more overwhelmed you are about asking for help for a larger problem, right? Look, it's tough. I get it. And don't think that this goes away. Because in the first few years of our career, it's not uncommon to be afraid to ask for help because you're just getting started, especially if you are in a remote environment and you don't see other people asking for help. It's hard to know how to do it. But then after you've been at it for 20 years, then you're still afraid to ask for help because you think that you should know it by now, that you've reached a certain level. And that's why I especially want to be talking to my leaders today about how important it is to ask for help, especially when you are at these higher levels. Because each time you reach a new level of success, you need new resources, new skills. Think about that. Higher levels of success, different resources, different skills to perform at that level. So let's think about a supervisor. That is a great example. The very first time you're given a team to supervise, you need the technical skills to how to manage people, how to do the performance reviews, how to coach them, and how to solve conflict, right? Now, if you're lucky, your boss is going to help you, train you, and get you whatever type of support you need in the company. But what if you work for a small company? What if your boss is too busy? Well, then who else can you turn to get some of that support? Can you talk to your old boss? Can you talk to other friends? Can you talk to another coworker who is a supervisor now, and you can talk to them about the first time they started to become the supervisor? Don't forget, there's always someone who has been in your shoes. And there's also another saying, asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength. You are showing your leadership in this new position that you aren't afraid to acknowledge where you need some support. So think about a time when maybe a leader came to you to ask for help or your input. Think of how impressed you were that that person came to you. Vulnerability is indeed a strength because it shows we have self-awareness, and we want our leaders to have self-awareness. So it's important to tap the help that we need. And to remember, not everybody started out as the finished product that you see. If you see someone who is, let's say, 50 years old and they've got this big promotion and they are interviewed all the time and they're very impressive, you've got to remember that that person may have fallen asleep in Biology 101. That person may have gotten lost on their way to their very, very first job. But you don't see that because all you see is the accomplishments of today. So you've got to remind yourself that everyone weaves. Everyone has these different times in their life when they need to ask for help. And especially, again, talking to my Latinas out there are so few of us in the corporate office. There are so few of us in leadership positions that it really is important for us to get the help we need so that we can be successful. So I need you to be successful. So how do I do it? I have a 3-question framework. I hope this works for you, but here's where I start. What do I need to succeed in this new role? Who can help me? And how do I get it? Okay, the supervising example is an easy one, right? I've just been promoted and I have a team. What do I need to succeed as a supervisor? Well, I need some training. I need some coaching on how to manage conflict or whatever the performance management system is, right? Who's going to help me? Well, ideally, it's my boss. But if it's not my boss, who are the other people that can provide support, right? And then how do I get it? Who do I ask? Who do I talk to? Now, the supervising example is an easy one, but what happens when it's a larger problem to solve? And again, this is where I'm talking to my leaders here, my department directors, my vice presidents. You are tasked with the vision for the department. How do you confidently go forward with your new plans? And there is an old saying that it's lonely at the top, and sometimes that very much is true, but it does not have to be. And this is where I want you to build your circle of support, the different people that you can call on at different times to get the help that you need. So here I am self-employed, and I think of the different people I talk to. I think of other consulting friends where I talk to them about how they structure their contracts and the different project timelines that they work on. I talked to another friend actually just a few weeks ago about taxes and budgets, things like that. But I have different people in my professional life that I can ask for help in different things. The one common factor is they're all people I can trust. Now, a lot of these people are folks that I used to work with. So this is just a reminder that you should always be cultivating your network. Stay in touch with those people that you used to work with who can be helpful down the road. And that's where a thought partnership, as you get higher and higher in your career, is so valuable to have other people you trust and you can talk to. It's really essential because the challenges get tougher as you get up the ladder and they are more nuanced. It's not an easy BuzzFeed article that can give you, 10 tips on strategic vision. So if you are having a tough time asking, here's a couple things to think about. Think of a past example where you helped someone professionally. Was it a former coworker who called you or a friend who reached out to you? And what did you do when you got that call? Hopefully you took the call and you spoke to them about what was on their mind. I think of other times when other friends have reached out to me for advice. Maybe it was a quick phone call. Maybe it was beer at trivia night to map out some plans for her new event. Either way, I was happy to do it. And I'm sure you've done it as well. So just reminding yourself that people will also take your call. Also, think about when you received help. Think of a time when you took a risk and you asked someone for help. So what did you gain by asking for that help? And how did it accelerate your process? And I'm going to use this podcast as a great example of the ways that I definitely had to have help to get this going. And I had the technical and the strategic help that I needed. The technical was I was driving myself crazy trying to figure out microphones and platforms and podcast hosts and all these things. And finally, as my husband saw me up at night every night trying to figure all this stuff, he said, "Do you want to hire someone to do that for you?" And it didn't strike me that I should or could do that. And of course, I was like, yes, definitely. So thank you, Serena, for being the awesome editor that is bringing this all to you right now. But it took someone else to highlight that for me, that maybe this wasn't where I should be spending my time. Then there is the strategic help that leaders need, talking through the vision of what is this thing supposed to be. So that's when I called a digital guru, my friend Alex. Thank you, Alex, who I'm sure is listening on Spotify. And I talked to her about the format of my podcast and is it a marketing tool or should I charge for it? And how does it fit into my overall business? So she gave me some advice. She told me to stop worrying about this. She gave me some examples of what I should be focused on. And it was a terrific investment and a lot of fun. And $50 over lunch got me some strategic guidance that I needed. But I wouldn't have been able to figure that out on my own. I had to go to someone who knew something that I did not. So Asking for help, if this helps you frame it better, is an investment in your professional development. You learn more from the people around you. You learn a lot about the people around you, right? Who are the people who are willing to help? And then you get closer to that one thing, right? So in this case, I got the podcast up and running. Now I have a strategy and I have the people around me that can help me with my business. One thing to think about, by the way, little side note here, if you find yourself really hesitant and you're not asking for help, is it that you're afraid to go to your boss, right? Do you not have the rapport? Do you need to do some relationship building with your boss or whoever the leader is that you're having a tough time getting some help from? Or is it just the concept of asking for help, right? So are you at the right place? Are you passionate about the work you do? Do you doubt something about the company that you really don't want to get ahead there? Maybe there is a moment here for you to pause and do some reflection to see why it is that you aren't asking for help, to see if this is going to be a constant problem at your company for you, and maybe there's a different problem taking root. Okay, so again, the framework, before I get to my fun definition of courage, by the way, the framework is, what do I need to succeed in this new role? So whether it's tactics and technical help or vision and strategy, right? Different people for different solutions. Who can help me? In this case, it was someone who had different experience than I, more experience than I. And then how do I get it? I hired Serena. She's not even in state. I took Alex to lunch. I had not seen Alex in at least 2, maybe even 3 years. But I got the courage to call her. And I want to talk about courage for a second. I looked online for the definition of courage, and I didn't like what I saw. So I went to this good old-fashioned dictionary from college, right? It is heavy as heck, right? And I looked for this old definition of courage that I really like. So I want to share it with you and I'll walk you through it. And I might edit it a little for our purposes, but this is what the American Heritage Dictionary from last century says about courage. It says, courage is the state or quality of mind or spirit. I like that one. The spirit that enables one to face danger. Now, hosting a podcast or being a supervisor should not involve danger, but we'll just go with it for now. The spirit that enables one to face danger with self-possession, confidence, and resolution. And I so love all 3 of those things. And if you want to replace danger with discomfort, please do. So the spirit that enables one to face discomfort with self-possession. I am in charge. I am composed, right? Confidence. I have belief that I can do this thing, whether it's the project, the supervising, the podcast, or even the confidence that I can ask someone for help. And resolution. I will do this. And that's why I love this particular definition, because you can have all the self-possession and be all pulled together and confident, but if you don't do the thing, you're not going to get the help you need and you're not going to get ahead, which is what we're trying to do here. We're trying to lift each other so that we can start taking those positions of leadership in corporate America that I know that you are well capable of. And we just need a little boost. We just need a little support to get you there. Okay. Drop in the comments when you asked for help. I want to hear how it went, and I want to hear anything else that you have to share. Thanks for joining us. Subscribe. I'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening. For more, visit cornerofficelatinas.com, where we give you the framework, inspiration, and support you need to reach and thrive in the corner office. We have some free downloads on the website, where you can also sign up for our e-news, so we can keep you posted on workshops and events coming up that you will not want to miss. That's cornerofficelatinas.com. See you next week.